What shaped you as a leader?
We track more what Mr. Trump has to say than what the business has to say. A few months back when this West Asian crisis started, a lot of our shipments were going through that region. All shipments stopped.
What is that most underrated element of a successful business development program?
You need to build a muscle and capability in the organization, how they can deal with uncertainties far better. These are the set of people who are working with us for last 25 to 30 years. And I see some of them are extremely capable.
It's more than betting on the organization. It is about how I am able to contribute.
Is it going to take away my job, or what will happen to me?
Welcome to Voices of CXOs, a special podcast aimed to get into the unspoken conversations that happens in the CEO mindset. How do we transition from being a manager to developing a leadership mindset? So today we are very privileged and very happy to have Rahul Adakmul, the current COO, the Chief Operating Officer International Business at Bharat Serums and Vaccines Limited. Rahul comes with an amazing trajectory in his career, rising right from being a management trainee at Reliance to being the COO where he is today. From being an individual contributor to becoming a leader of the people. So today we are going to deep dive into his leadership playbook, the decisions that shaped his career, the lessons from the boardroom, and what it really takes to operate at the intersection of global operations, M&A, and enterprise leadership. What makes Rahul's journey rare is not just the trajectory, it is the depth. He combines sharp commercial instinct with genuine strategic vision, and he leads with a clarity of purpose that is evident in how he builds teams, enters markets, and creates long-term value. So welcome Rahul. It's really a pleasure to have you at our podcast today. So Rahul, most people, they know you as a Chief Operating Officer International Business Bharat Serums and Vaccines. But behind this title lies a 20 years of a career journey, right from being a management trainee at Reliance through Dr. Reddy's and to BSV. So keenly, I want you to share with us what shaped you as a leader. Not just the career milestones, but behind that, what were the experiences, the inflection points, the moments that made you or defined you, how you think, how you act, how you do things as a leader today. And after 15 years of Dr. Reddy's journey, what made you decide that it was now time for you to take a completely different challenge at BSV and your leadership journey through BSV over the last 5 years? So it's been a very interesting journey, I'm sure. And that a little bit I know about your journey. I really want that powerful journey to be visible to all.
Thank you so much, Radhika. It's great to be on your podcast here. So when I look at the career and the milestones and what really are the inflection points, I think one thing clearly strikes me in today's context is in today's world, careers are not linear. When I say that, I mean it is not defined by how many years of experience you have or how many years you have spent in a particular function for you to progress. But careers these days are driven mainly by the impact you create. And that's why you will see that careers are typically non-linear. And I'm one such example that my career has been non-linear. When I look back now, it is easier for me to connect the dots. Of course, it wasn't as easy when I was walking on that path. I started as a generalist. I was in pharmaceutical industry and very fortunate to be a part of one of the most respected pharma company. Was part of strategic planning, strategy, being part of the CEO's office. All of that I did for 4-5 years. And after doing that, I was really struggling to figure out what is my path in this industry. I always felt that I'm good at a lot of things, but I was struggling for that path. And that's where some words of wisdom really kind of helped me giving that clarity. And those were like, I still remember, and that was my aha point at that time. Um, you can start as a generalist, but to grow, you need to be really a expert in few things, and that really struck me. I am good in general things, but what is that one thing I really stand for? And that time, I could see from the CEO's office what are where the organizational growth opportunities, etc. And I realized that uh, business alliances, deals, in licensing is really a big value impact area. And I felt that business development is something which is really one expertise I can build. I have always been, since my childhood, very hardworking, wanted to be always be best whatever I do. And here also I felt, I mean, if I'm choosing this as expertise, I need to be the best in the industry. And from only being best for myself, I felt that the bar has to go up. And I really worked hard for that, really worked on building my skill, doing a lot of deals. And at some point in time, I was like going all over the world, literally in US, Europe, and signing deals. Again, that point came where I felt that maybe the things which I'm doing, they are good individually for me. I'm building the functional expertise, but they are not creating as bigger impact as they should be creating. And that's where I started looking back. What is that I'm missing? And that again, one introspection and one thing which struck me that point is uh, to create impact, it needs to be a much broader organizational priority. So that second shift was really from independent work to interdependence work. And that was again very powerful insight. I could figure out that uh, it has to be from my agenda to the organizational agenda. It has to be from my agenda to people's agenda. And that's where I just broadened that perspective about things, started building the team, started making it much bigger, and involved in from my team, which was like 4 5 people, to really hundreds of people in the organization, then made that big impact. And I was very successful in creating that big impact. While this was happening, again, this was all about how we create value and impact. And again, one important shift that time happened, and learning from what was happening then. We have always, in our careers, we look up many times. We look for mentorship. We look for people above us, and that's important because you need mentors. But fundamentally, mentors and looking up will give you opportunities and platform. But the success is guaranteed not because only you're looking up. The success is guaranteed because looking down with the people you have with you, uh, the things which you want to kind of create, the purpose, people, all of that. And that was again an important shift in me, that how I can build my team, how I really spend a lot of time on discovering my purpose, discovering people, discovering their capabilities, and really make them successful. And these three shifts, clearly, first on having a deep functional expertise, second, from independence to interdependence, and really making it broad, and third is really going deep on building your people, building your purpose, to make it to a next level. So, and that has really helped me from an individual contributor to somebody who can really create an impact at much broader scale, at teams level, business level, company level, and maybe at industry level. I didn't answer your second question.
Okay.
The second question was on what made me make that shift from Dr. Reddy's to BSV. Again, it goes back to the core purpose or core drive. Um, I'm good at creating impact, creating value, and I did that very well in Dr. Reddy's. But this opportunity was a lot more entrepreneurial when it came to BSV. And whatever I had learned in Dr. Reddy's, I felt that it's a great opportunity to implement and create much bigger impact and value. And that's where I felt this is very natural for me to now get into very different trajectory. And that's where I said that non-linearity of career moves is what this point was. Instead of going again on the linear or a trajectory in one company, from management training to maybe a CXO, this was a trajectory to say I move out from that one ecosystem to now a smaller ecosystem and create much bigger impact with autonomy, with entrepreneurship. And that point again, when I was taking this decision, it wasn't as clear and objective, that point. Certain, it wasn't definitely certain. But in the hindsight, I think this is one of the best decisions I took. This really added a lot of muscle to me in terms of my leadership styles.
Thank you, because many of them, to do these transitions takes a lot of courage. Has to be something where you're willing to, it's not about the organization you're betting on yourself, because how you are able to adapt, transition and grow. And I feel in many contexts today, people, especially in today's age where adaptation is so important, it's something which I want to share with our audience also, that constant adaptation, it's more than betting on the organization. It is about how I am able to contribute, makes a huge difference. And I think that's what you shared it, and thank you so much for that. Your own example has proved that when you believe in yourself, you can create wonders beyond what the ecosystem has to offer you. Thank you. And that leads me to the next question. So the next point I wanted to discuss was, you have seen the organization from the middle and in the deep, in specific business units, and also from the top. You've been accountable for large scale enterprise performance. There is often a significant gap between strategy of the boardroom and what actually happens in daily operations. And this is where leadership really plays the big role. So one thing is, what is the biggest disconnect that you have observed? Why does this gap exist? And as a COO, how do you think about your role in closing this gap? And is there any specific area that you would like to discuss? Is it systemic problem? Is it people problem? Is it a culture problem? Or is it a combination? Where do you see, and how to see this? How do we fill this gap, that the whole organization eventually aligns with the mission of the organization?
Yeah. When we are looking at creating something big in future, right? Everything which has happened in the past is certain, and everything which will happen in future is uncertain, right? And when you are looking at 5 years down the line, there are so many elements of uncertainty which will always be there. And this is where, as leaders, we need to have deep conviction in what we are, kind of want to build, want to create. That conviction comes from your expertise, your experiences, and your own, kind of analysis about the opportunities. But that first level, that deep conviction is critical, because if you are having that deep conviction and passion, that will get amplified below. Second element is, of course, about strategy. Then how do you convert that deep conviction in the strategy? And here we've realized that many times our strategy, because it's really futuristic, there are a lot of uncertain elements to it. And if you take it as is to people, you will create a lot more chaos in the organization, because intrinsically everybody is seeking certainty, right? You will often hear in the organization, boss, give me clarity. I don't have clarity how this will happen. And these are clear signs and symptoms where you can see that people really seeking that clarity, really seeking that certainty in uncertain environment. And that is where an important gap I have seen many times. People draw strategy, but they don't bridge that gap between the uncertain elements of your strategy to a certain elements of execution, right? Even when I was working as a CEO, I'm working as CEO of BSV. When we started, we want to really build a great international business. That was just a very high level statement, right? We broke it down to a level, say that we want to be from an export oriented business, we want to be a branded specialty international business. And every word we had chosen very, very carefully. We said international business means we need to be very clear which markets we'll be operating in. We identified those 20 markets. Specialty business means which specialties we will operate. We identified 4 specialties. branded business, which brands we will operate on. We identified those 8 to 9 brands. And when you reach to that level of clarity, and that's where then when you talk to your people about this is what we will do, then you will see that they start relating to it. They start that whole big uncertain strategy start making sense to them. On top of that, this is not enough because this is not translating into their day-to-day things. You need to define milestones. You need to define success. You need to define what good success looks like. And it is super important at the start of your journey when you are turbocharging this growth journey. But over time, how often you will keep on providing that uncertainty in the uncertain environment. You need to build a muscle and capability in the organization, how they can live in uncertain situations, how they can deal with uncertainties far better. And that is one element we in our people especially. First of all, ideally we want everybody to have that capability. And you will see in organization, not many people will have that. So how do we, kind of expose them to uncertain situation? How do we encourage them to take those decisions? That has helped in, kind of building now a team, building now group of people who can go and deal with any uncertain situation. I'll give you a classic example. It happened last quarter. We know what is happening worldwide, right? In international business, we operate in emerging markets. So it's like it will always keep you on your toes. Every day you will hear something else. We track more what Mr. Trump has to say than what the business has to say because it has a lot big bearing. And especially a few months back when this West Asian crisis started, a lot of our shipments were going through that region. And for many companies, it's true. All shipments stopped and we were staring at quarter closing and how will it happen? And none of us had the answer. And of course, our team who was operating there, and I thought maybe they will come back and ask me, boss, what is to be done now? What should we do? And to my surprise, none of them came. I had to go to them and I had to ask them, are you okay? We'll be able to solve this? And the guy said, yeah, we have a solution. I will solve it like this, like that. We'll divert the shipments from A to B to C to D. And they did it. And for me, that was my winning point that we have now a bunch of people, any uncertainty you throw at them, they will find a way. So that is how I think, which started as really very uncertain journey, it translated into providing that certainty, building that confidence, building a capability. How do we deal with uncertainty? How do we have organizational people level capability? They can solve the problems on their own. And that is really now I'm pretty happy and confident that it has reached to a level that this will now, it will go in that autopilot mode.
I can see a very proud leader sitting here about your team, and I'm sure this has happened with a lot of effort on building systems, process, and more importantly, empowering your people, because it takes a lot of, I would say, confidence in the teams to act in times of uncertainty, especially, and take decisions. And that comes with continuous grooming and continuous empowerment. And I think the most important thing that makes people stand up to say is when you as a leader tell them that, go ahead, I am there for you.
Yeah.
I think that's the confidence that enables your teams to really stand up and take those decisions and say that, yes, there is a hand behind me.
Yeah.
And that kind of reflects on your leadership journey as well. Maybe you have not spelt it, but I could sense it that there is no other reason why a team will not come to you, because they know you're always with them.
Yeah.
So that leads me to the next question, is on some things which is quite visible in your journey. You have been at the center of a lot of significant large-scale deals, organic, inorganic, and right from your doctorate these days to the recent acquisition and the broader expansions which are happening at BSV through M&As and with PE firms and venture capitalists, etc. In your experience, what is that most underrated element which of a successful business development program, which typically is not coming out of a perfect presentation, but those hidden factors which you experience in terms of making and saying that these deals are the right deals for us and these are the right set of people to align with from the organization's growth perspective. What has been your thoughts? What has been your journey? How have you evaluated various aspects, be it as a advisor to your board or being at the realm of the affairs?
So again, this is an interesting question and makes me introspect and go back on the memory lane. See, one of the, I would say, big blind spot in doing good deals and getting into areas which will create value is many times we focus on what has gone right in the past. Many times which is things which are really in their, which are shaped in their full form, readily servable on the plate, in their full value format, right? And we get excited about, yeah, this looks nice. This has been great story in the past, all of that, right? So we tend to get into things which has a great trajectory or great history. Often we ignore. You can't drive looking backward. You have to drive looking forward. So often we ignore. Past trajectory is fine, but what will be the future trajectory of some of these things, right? And many times you will realize that lot of things which has very sketchy past trajectory or not as great past trajectory, with your intervention can actually have much bigger and better trajectory in future. And all of those things, and the reverse is also true, which might have great trajectory in the past and future may not be as great, right? And this is where the wisdom and insights are critical. When I look back, I think, of course, you learn this with a lot of trial and errors. It doesn't come naturally. I did some deals with which is a second category. Of course, they didn't work, but there are some deals which really worked. And one such deal we did in when we acquired UCB's business in Dr. Reddy's, a business which was growing at average growth rates, having products which are very old products. And really everybody was looking at it, this is like old product business, why to pay so much? It was in allergy segment. And when I was looking at that deal, one thing really struck me. Though all the products were old, despite new products coming in that segment, the growth trajectory of none of them got altered or reduced, or they didn't decline. They were growing at steady, slow pace, but they were growing. And that was the moment I felt there is something which everybody is missing here. So we went deep and we figured out that these old products are useful in certain category, especially in allergy, we called sedative, non-sedative things. And these were like old sedative medicines. And when we talked to doctors, we realized that in certain cases, you need sedation, you need sleep. And that was a big insight at that point in time. And we said, nobody will compete in this. Though their past is average, their future can be very bright. And that's why we, kind of discussed with the management and we convinced management that we should go after this deal. This was very pricey deal, but in the hindsight, now in last 5, 6, 7 years, the assets we brought, they have gone almost 4x scale. And that insight is what, again, a slightly nuanced one, but very relevant. What can get you here will not get you there, right? So what will get you there, you need to be very, very clear about the hypothesis and things which will require. And to create that value, I think one is the hypothesis. Second is your execution rigor, the team you are kind of working on this, how they are motivated, how they are able to see this. All of those elements need to be stitched. And I remember that time almost 100 people were working on that deal. And even after the deal, almost like the entire UCB team which joined us, great people, we gave them the vision. Our teams really worked hard and created this value. So any these type of deals per se, or BD deals, or any other projects we want to get in, I think 2-3 things, these are the 2-3 things which are very critical. Whatever is your past trajectory is fine, but what will be the future trajectory, we should have a very sharper view on the future trajectory. One. Two, the elements of again execution, and again fundamentally people, capability, processes, products, super critical in our industry, that needs to be stitched. And third is, you need to be at it. The execution or the results, they don't come as easy as you just say that all elements are meeting to it. You have to be at it constantly to make sure it happens. And I'm very happy for some of these deals why they are successful, because highly motivated teams behind them and driving those results.
Amazing. Just an extension of what you shared was every time a deal of these sizes and nature happen, there is something which is called integration of people. Is there any, would you like to throw some light on how you actually help people manage, especially there are a lot of emotions run through, people are not sure about their future, there is question mark on their growth trajectory, a lot of those questions crop up. As a leader, how do you actually address these and help teams to be more objective and see it as an opportunity rather than a disadvantage?
Yeah. See, whenever this type of transitions happen, and I've seen many of them, one common element you will always see, people will have two questions. What is there in for me, and how am I going to grow in this, right? Is it going to take away my job, or what will happen to me? So people create, for a right reason, have a lot of, there could be a maybe 10% ambiguity, but they create maybe 100% ambiguity. They amplify that ambiguity around that. And as leaders, it's our responsibility to help them see through this ambiguous time. And be it when we took over UCB's team, the first thing which we did is just went across and did town halls in 5 cities just immediately on the second day of signing the deal. And those town halls were that critical. We said that it is important to give that clarity. Even when I joined BSV, of course Advent has come over and taken over BSV at that point in time. There was existing team, a lot of people working for BSV for years now. Some of them are even working for 30 years. And they were anxious, what will happen to us? And again, that time we spent a lot of time on communicating. And I see some of them are extremely capable, much more capable than some of the big companies, right? But they don't realize that what they have. And when I could see what a committed, passionate individuals, so good in their functional areas, didn't get the exposure of a bigger world. So my job was really, helping them understand how good they are. And since they are good, their future is secured. We will take care of their future, right? And when people get that confidence, you will see energy coming out. One example which I talk about, that solving some of these critical problems in very uncertain environments. These are the set of people who are working with us for last 25 to 30 years. This is our old team, old BSV team. But now they are at their different zone of energy, zone of clarity, zone of purpose. So every time this happens, these transitions happen, people will create a zone of uncertainty around them, ambiguity. It's our job to help them see through.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Now we'll come to the last part of our session, and just wanted to understand. I've known you for a while now, and a few things that we have discussed deeply has been about core values and purpose. And I have seen that identifying core values, purpose has really been a game changer in your journey, and which has helped you to given you new breakthroughs as you have now scaled up from your CEO level to possibly the next whatever years of work and impact that you wish to create. I want you to share your journey of how it is for you to now have found your purpose, and also in terms of how it helps to build organizations to the next levels, and also How do you see that as a space for you to impact, create a larger impact, and for your people, for the ecosystem, for the industry at large? What is your thoughts? What are your thoughts for that?
Yeah, first of all, I really thank you for helping me go through that journey. Um, I was taking a lot of decisions. I was reacting to situations. I was, uh, you know, uh, connecting or moving through from one place to other place. Um, Subconsciously, something was happening. You know, I was not very clear what is that. Right. Every time I was taking certain difficult decisions, there were few things which were happening. Some processing which was happening back of your mind. I was not fully aware of what is that processing. This whole core value identification exercise which I did with you really could help in pinpointing those 4-5 areas very clearly, that these are those elements which subconsciously were helping me in taking those choices, decisions. And when I know now those are the areas, I am a lot more conscious when I'm now taking any action, how I react, how I decide, how I prioritize, how I help my team, how I deal with stakeholders. So I think now, at least, I mean, as an engineer, it comes naturally for me to solve every unknown phenomenon into a kind of equation, ax plus by plus cz type of thing. To me now it is that clarity. Those are 4-5 variables clearly defining how I behave, how I take decisions. So I think that is very important. So that helps me being at least dissecting what is which type of decision, and has helped me building a lot more predictability, and that predictability has built a lot of calmness in how I now work with situations. So thank you for that. And the second part leading to that was the core purpose, because purpose is again important. We, at every juncture in career life, we are driven by something, right? And maybe at different times we are driven by different things, right? But at this stage of life, what is that thing which is unlocking that energy? And if you go deep down in that, you will realize that is nothing but your purpose. But again, how will you put words to that vague idea in your head, and what is that vague energy driver? Identifying that thing was again a very important aspect. And thanks again for working with me on that. So when now I have seen what my core values, what my purpose is, uh, it has really helped now getting closer to my energy sources, and really building on my strength, building on my energy to create much bigger impact. And I think at this stage, whatever I have that level of clarity, it has really brought in lot more calmness, looking at the situation, looking at the way, what things I will be doing and what decision I'll be taking in the future. So thank you so much for all of that.
Most welcome. How do you see finding individual purpose aligning with taking companies as purpose-driven organizations?
Individual purpose will be source of individual energy, right? Passion, energy, what do you want to your own drive. That will help you create impact restricted to yourself. But when it comes to company and businesses, industries, you need to now start creating or propagating that in a way that it starts creating that energy, unlocking that value, finding out that unknown at much broader level. And what I believe, that if that will happen, or when that happens, you will suddenly see the world resonating on same frequency, and that's where the amplification happens. The classic physics funda, right? That is the power of expanding it to that level. And to me, I mean, little more nuanced, but to me, I think the purpose, if you could translate into organizational purpose, unlocking organizational value, it will create that amplifying impact. And it is not going to be 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. I think it will be 1 plus 1 far greater than 2 in that sense. It will have that amplification effect.
Thank you so much, Rahul, for sharing your thoughts, your values, your purpose, and your journey with us. I'm sure there are a lot of takeaways from this conversation, and I'm sure all those who are watching it are going to take home loads of wisdom and action points, more importantly, to make their journey from a management trainee to a CXO level in a more confident and a purposeful manner. So, thank you so much for coming and sharing your ideas with us.
Thank you so much, Radhika. It was wonderful talking on all of these elements, which are very close to my heart.
Yeah.
Thank you.